Welcome. I am so glad you are here. We are about to step into 10 weeks to remodeling your self-esteem. So excited you're here. Okay, first, I have to start with a confession. I love the home remodeling programs. Property Brothers is one of my favorite, and I recently discovered Maine Cabin Masters. I love watching these shows. I love the transformation that takes place in 30 minutes or an hour. And sometimes I even fast forward. I don't even wait the whole hour. I'll fast forward to get to the end result because I love seeing the contrast between where it starts and where it ends up. So a few years ago, we decided to finish our unfinished basement. And we had taken a course through UVU on how to finish your basement. I mean, it was a solid, we met 4 to 6 times. We even had some hands-on practice. So clearly we had been educated and we're in a place to be able to go ahead and finish our own basement. It didn't take 30 minutes. It didn't take 60 minutes. It took months. And oh my goodness, it was a process. So we didn't do all of it. We didn't do 100% of it ourselves. We had drywallers come in at the end and hang the drywall and mudding and do those kinds of things. But we did a lot of it. It was satisfying. And there were times it was definitely super frustrating. So the remodeling process is not an easy or quick process. So let's take a look at the expectations to have as you're getting ready to step into this process. First, you need to know what it is you're going to create. When we were finishing the basement or when someone does a remodel, you want to know what are the changes you're going to make. What do we want the end result to look like? How do we want it to function? So we have to start with the end in mind. You have to dig in. Remodeling, whether it's unfinished or you're demoing before you start to remodel, requires you to dig in. This is not surface work. This is digging in to understand what's happening and what needs to change. It's remembering that in this process, it's likely to get messier before you start seeing the results that you want. So it's a normal part of the process and you need to understand and have that expectation. And it takes time. This is not going to happen in 30 minutes or an hour. This is going to take time to do this remodeling. All right. So let's start with the overview. What are we going to cover? So this week, we're going to do really basic information. I want to make sure that you understand what it is we're talking about when it comes to self-esteem and how your self-esteem developed. So that's what we're going to focus on this week. Next week, we're going to talk about the critical shift that has to happen as you become an adult in order to create a healthy self-esteem. And we're going to talk about that end result that you're wanting to create. That's next week. In week 3, we're going to talk about your foundation of worth. We have to have a solid foundation when we're remodeling and creating a healthy self-esteem. We're going to talk about self-compassion in week 4. In week 5, we're going to talk about the beauty and power of your emotions. Yes, all of your emotions. In week 6, we're going to talk about how critical it is for you to have alignment between your choices and your values. In week 7, we're going to talk about healthy boundaries and why you got to have them. In week 8, we're going to talk about how critical connection is in our life and in creating a healthy self-esteem. In week 9, we're going to focus on focus. And in week 10, we're going to talk about celebration. So these are the different pieces that we're going to cover throughout this 10-week process. All right. So you may want to purchase a journal. I am going to give you worksheets and journal prompt pages each week as we move through this process. However, you may find it more convenient, or you may, certainly if you're someone who loves to journal, you may find it helpful to have a journal. A journal can also be a great place to keep track of the questions that come up for you as you're moving through this process. So here's how it's going to work. Each week you're going to receive a new video, or videos, I should say, lessons. Now I keep these videos short on purpose. Each one will be between 5 or 10 minutes, and typically you'll probably get 2 or 3 videos each week. I do it this way because I want this to be manageable. I want this to fit into all of the other things you have going on in your life. So you'll get the videos for the week. You can watch a video and then do the exercise. There'll be an exercise with each video lesson. And you can fit these in 10 or 20 minutes in different parts of your week where you've got the space for it. So I've set it up this way on purpose. At the end of each video, I was just mentioning this, there's going to be an exercise. I'll be sending you worksheets and or journal prompts. Please take the time. This is critical when we talk about the work, the getting messy. This is the stuff that is going to create the change, doing these exercises. This isn't just about learning, it's about putting it into practice. So please take the time to do the exercise before you move on to the next video lesson. Okay, as I said, please keep track of your questions. You can do this in your phone, or you can do it in a journal or just a piece of paper, but make note of your questions as you're going through this process. And then join the coaching call each week to get your questions answered, to get support, to do additional exploration of that week's lessons. So this is the process.